first episode of Season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark. It's the tale of the Midnight Ride, Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But before we get to the episode, look at this cast. Does it look like two people are missing? Yeah, I mentioned before that David and Kristen. Last episode was the end of Season 2. So in Season 3 we have 5 characters of the Midnight Society. Gary, Kiki, Betty Ann, and Frank. And Gary has brought in a new person, Tucker, who is his younger brother, and is a bit bratty and snooty. Since we needed a bratty and snooty kid in this Midnight Society. Betty Ann is dark and mysterious, while coming off like the girl next door. Frank is nondescript, but I think he's supposed to be like the bad boy. Kiki's got spunk. Their favorite group is Salt and Peppa. And Gary's the leader of the society. A nerd who loves talking about magic. Man, he can't stop talking about magic. So they're going to introduce a new character in this episode and another one later on. Creator of the series, DJ McHale, has said in interviews he can never figure out how many kids should be in this Midnight Society. Well, I'll tell him how many. Really 4 would be perfect. 6 is way too many. You forget about some of them. And 5 is even a little overbearing as well. But I think 4. They just kept it to Gary, Kiki, Betty Ann, and Frank. I think it'd be fine. In fact, I would change Frank for Kristen. I think that would be the dream quartet. And as we can see here, Gary says that both of these families of David and Kristen moved away, but in real life, it says David, who's played by Nathaniel Moreo, was fired because of a salary dispute. Now, how exactly does a 12-year-old have a salary dispute with a television show? Well, that's his parents, of course. His parents thought his kid wasn't getting paid enough. And Rachel Blanchard, who played Kristen, the most famous of the group, apparently called DJ McHale and said that she didn't want to do the show anymore. So I decided to do some sleuthing. This is actually the first I've heard of this. I never knew why she left this series. So I watched some interviews of Rachel Blanchard, and they were not helpful whatsoever. In fact, she basically never talks about Are You Afraid of the Dark anymore.
That's my boyfriend. We fall in love. He plays this really uptight, neurotic doctor, and I'm this carefree hippie chick, and sort of opposites attract.
Maybe once every 2 years that my grandparents come in town, we walk it all. And...
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So you're on the show. I'm so excited. You're playing a daughter.
I am.
And I'm a little nervous. I feel like you've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't helpful at all. They ask her every single question except for Are You Afraid of the Dark? Come on, interviewers, get it together. She's gone on to do Fargo and Clueless. This interview particularly has been helpful in getting at the mind of DJ McHale. Look at this channel. It only has 125 subscribers. I have 1,400. Can I get an interview with DJ McHale? Don't tempt me, because I might do something. We're going to go big for 2026, including some collaborations. But I'm getting off track. We got a new character, and his name's Tucker, and he's starting this episode off right. And we get the story of the Headless Horseman. This starts during the American Revolutionary War, but it quickly goes to modern times. Apparently he was a soldier who had his head blown off by a cannonball. I don't think I knew that. I thought his head got chopped off, but okay, that's the story. And the ghost would ride through the woods of Sleepy Hollow, looking for the victim that he can chop off his head and use that head to replace his old one. But until he finds that victim, he's just got a pumpkin on his head. I mean, it's a good placeholder until you get a real head. And they tell us that Ichabod rode to the Bridge of Souls, and the Bridge of Souls was a place that the Headless Horseman could not cross, and this will play into the episode. Since our main character is Ian Matthews, and he's a dork, and he's recently moved into Sleepy Hollow, New York, and he's trying to make friends, but he's running into some bullies. Now, the cast is older, and I always prefer these older episodes. Sometimes they do 12 and 13-year-olds, and the episodes reflect it. They're more kiddish. And sometimes they do ones at high school, where the kids are 16 and 17, like this one, and deal with more mature themes like love and romance, and you might even see a kiss or two. But not all things are bad for Ian Matthews. He actually has this attractive girl by the name of Katie that takes a liking to him. And her ex-boyfriend Brad gets jealous. Challenges him to a fight when he sees him dancing with Katie at the Halloween dance. Once again, in the episodes that feature 12-year-olds, you never see them talk about past romances, because they're freaking 12 when they say, I dated this girl when I was 9. But here we get the backdrop that Katie dated Brad, but he was a bit too much of a jackass, so she dumped him and is now moving on to Ian. Brad challenges Ian to a fight, but if he doesn't want to fight him, he can go to the bridge at Sleepy Hollow and show that he's truly not scared of this Headless Horseman ghost. After all, it is just a urban legend. And this is a nice retelling of Sleepy Hollow. Obviously, Ian is supposed to be Ichabod Crane. He looks like him as well. At least the depictions we've seen of Ichabod. I did read this short story of Sleepy Hollow a long time ago. Technically, it's a long poem and is very dense with almost no dialogue. But hell, just watch the movie with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. They go more into the legend about how Ichabod Crane got lost trying to find his way back home, and he came to a fork in the road One trail going left and one trail going to the right. And he was supposed to go left to get to this Bridge of Souls, the place that the Headless Horseman can't cross, but instead he went right and got chased by the Headless Horseman. So Ian's got to remember, go left, don't go right. And what do you know, Ian gets lost in the woods as well. Brad tries to do a very R.L. Stein fake scare, and we do actually get to see the Headless Horseman. I complained on the last episode how it seemed like the graveyard that they shot it on looked fake, was just a bunch of fog with styrofoam tombstones, but no, this one's shot in the real woods. It's what they should have done in the last episode as well. We see the bridge, we see the fork in the road, and then we get these nice images where they're being chased outside of the school, and we see the shadow of the Headless Horseman looming over them in a nice projection sequence, before seeing the Headless Horseman himself, complete with his pumpkin head, trying to slice their heads off. The Headless Horseman is chasing Ian and Katie because while Ian was lost in the woods, he actually ran into Ichabod Crane, or I guess a reincarnation of him. I'm not really sure if this makes sense or not, because technically it was in the 1700s, but he ran into Ichabod Crane, told him to go the right direction, so the Headless Horseman never got him, which means the Headless Horseman is still looking for a head, so he's going to go after Ian and chop off his head. Though, I don't know, I think the pumpkin head looks fine on the Headless Horseman. Why does he need a real head? Also, apparently he can see, because he's doing a good job chasing these kids. I would just stick with the pumpkin head. Looks more frightening. Though I guess maybe if the Headless Horseman goes to a bar and tries to pick up a chick or something, she might be creeped out by the fact that he has a pumpkin head. Yeah, I could see that throwing a wrench into you living your everyday life. So really, he's misunderstood. He just wants to be like all of us, not be some headless freak. We get some well-choreographed chase scenes, but they're able to get to this bridge and escape from the Headless Horseman since he still can't cross it, and they actually meet up with Ichabod, who thanks him. So really, it looks like they changed the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Ichabod Crane got to live after all. They're safe because they're across this bridge, and hopefully they put yellow tape around this entire woods so that no one else wanders around into the Headless Horseman. This episode is really good. It's going to get an 8 out of 10. We missed a step with the last one, but they're back with a twist on a traditional story, and DJ McHale is back at the helm again. Probably my favorite scene is when you see the Headless Horseman's silhouette being projected on these buildings. I remember that scene from the Dario Argento movie Suspiria, where you see the witches' silhouettes projecting and following the characters around. It's quite frightening. The love interest Katie is played by Rachel Wilson, who has continued to have a great career. I mean, she's still starring in stuff. This girl will not give up. And it's fun seeing which of the kid actors continue and which ones quit. There doesn't seem to be much of an in-between. There's not too many actors that star in a TV show once every 2 years. No, you're going gung-ho or you're going home. She's been in episodes of Republic of Doyle, Rain, Real East Coast, Spun Out. Haven't heard a lot of these shows, but she's still kicking ass, and that's what matters. And of course, we get the new character, Tucker, younger brother of Gary, who's played by Daniel DeSanto. I think he did a pretty good job with this story. And he reminds me a lot of Eric from the first season, who just magically disappeared. It's like they're trying to replace Eric. Eric was the younger, brattier kid. Now we get Tucker, telling stories in the Midnight Society. He was Jason in Mean Girls, and in Boondock Saints 2. But really, he's most known for voicing Ray in the TV series Beyblade. 129 episodes, but he still gets residuals from that. And we get some more changes for Season 3. In the very first episode that we covered, The Tale of the Phantom Cab, a great episode, Gary starts the series by talking about how none of them go to the same school, they don't hang out outside of this campfire, and they're really not great friends. They meet up to tell these stories and then go their separate ways. Well, they've changed that. And you can see them flirting with that in Season 1 and 2, where they're trying to develop stories with the characters, like the relationship between David and Kristen, or Kiki being a bit of a prankster. DJ McHale mentioned in the numerous interviews that he's done that when Eric left the first season, he thought people wouldn't care and they wouldn't notice, but they really did notice, so they decided to develop their characters a bit more. And when Season 3 rolled around, Gary mentions in the beginning of the episode that Kristen and David moved away to keep it consistent. But now it seems like they do go to the same school and hang out with each other. And at the end here it says this is one of the few episodes not on Paramount Plus and Amazon Prime. Yeah, I noticed. Is there a rights issue? Maybe with Sleepy Hollow or something? But Sleepy Hollow was written in 1820. So it's public domain, so anyone can do an adaptation of Sleepy Hollow. You can do an adaptation and film it and put it out, so I have no idea. Next up is a top-rated episode, The Tale of Apartment 214, about this mysterious old lady. It's episode 2. And also check out our playlist for the other series that we've covered: Monsters, Fear Itself, Black Mirror, Tales from the Dark Side, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Cowboy Bebop, Pet Shop of Horrors. Thanks a lot.